Berit Reiss-Andersen, chair of the Norwegian Nobel Committee. You chose to give the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize to Maria Ressa from the Philippines and Dmitry Muratov from Russia, two journalists. Why?
Because they are journalists and because they have used their journalistic platform to exercise freedom of expression and to fight for the protection of freedom of expression. And they have also participated in public debate on the importance of this matter for a healthy society.
Now, a Nobel Peace Prize to freedom of expression, freedom of the media, basically a journalism peace prize in many ways, has been long awaited by many, specifically by the journalistic community, of course. Some organizations have been nominated, the Committee to Protect Journalists, Reporters Without Borders, but you chose two specific journalists in two specific countries to get this prize. Why?
Because we wanted to illustrate what it means to dedicate your life to such an important task as this, and to highlight two persons who have been extraordinary, courageous, and also represent very professional journalism of high quality. I think these are the values that all journalists aspire to, and that the organizations you mention also work for as the golden standard. So it was our decision that these two individuals, by their example, really are excellent representatives for the profession as such.
It has been long awaited, as said. Why this year? Why now?
The prize could have been given yesterday, but it is also the right moment to give it today. I think the past year and a half with the pandemic has particularly highlighted how important the truth is for society as such to make the right decisions, to fight challenges. But it could have been given at any time. Today is a particular situation in the sense that media is present in our lives in a way that it has never been to us before. Globally, it is present in people's lives. And media influences us as citizens, influences politicians, but also manipulate us, disinform us. Media is also used for purposes of propaganda. So this quality journalism that this prize honors is really of great importance to balance out how opinions can be shared, how people should debate and have different opinions without polarizing the debate and without starting war and conflict and exposing bigotry.
Exactly, because we know that in many countries around the world, public trust in journalists, in media, is low. We know that people have difficulties differentiating between facts and lies, basically. To what extent do you hope that this year's Peace Prize will help sort of lift media institutions that do serious journalism?
Yes, you are quite right. Sometimes media itself is the problem. And media is part of our everyday life. It is very important to show that media also has such a crucial role in society. For, first of all, that disagreement and debate is a natural part of a democratic society, but also to expose what is not true, where governments are hiding facts from us, and facts of war and conflict. Without media, you cannot have a strong democracy, and democracy is the best defense and protection against war and conflict in the world today.
And I guess that's the connection to Alfred Nobel's will as well. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yes, when I read the announcement, I referred to all terms of the will, because it is obvious that this prize is connected to fraternity between nations. But we see journalism as an institution that is a cornerstone of society, so can be interpreted as our peace congresses of today. And furthermore, when it comes to reporting on conflict and wars, I believe that journalism contributes to making people aware of the horrors of war and the unfairness and propaganda connected to conflicts, and therefore the disarmament alternative was also referred to.
And we know that specifically for one of the laureates this year, for Dmitry Muratov and his newspaper Novaya Gazeta. He had one of his journalists, Anna Politkovskaya, murdered for her reporting on the war in Chechnya. These two laureates direct a lot of their criticism towards the regimes of their own country, towards President Duterte in the Philippines, towards President Putin in Russia. How do you expect these two and their regimes to receive the news of this year's prize?
Well, that is difficult for me to predict, but you are right. They are addressing both war and state brutality. And also in the Philippines, there are several journalists killed every year. So this is also a point that illustrates how important the work of journalists is, that when you tell the truth, somebody goes for you, and it is a dangerous job to be in that front. What the leaders of these two nations should be aware of, and leaders of nations where freedom of expression is even more restricted than in Russia and the Philippines, is that the world is watching. That is what we like to express. This is a universal right that concerns us all.
So in many ways, this prize can be interpreted as a criticism towards the situation for freedom of expression, freedom of the media in Russia and the Philippines specifically as well.
We criticize any nation that restricts freedom of expression. And we have chosen these two journalists who have worked in their national territory, so to speak, for the work they have done.
Berit Reiss-Andersen, once again, congratulations on the great prize again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and congratulations.